Welcome everybody to the Bon Voyage podcast. I see we have some guests on today, so I want to welcome them. And also anybody watching a recorded version of the podcast, you're welcome to in here, guys. And I want to welcome our co-host. First of all, my boss, Kelly Graham.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Kelly. And I want to welcome from A&K, Ashley Zaldivar, our friend. And are you in Texas right now?
I am. I am in good old Austin, Texas, sitting in my home office. It's rare that I get to be seated and at home and in an air-conditioned room with the dog at my feet. So it's very, very exciting for me right now, I'll be honest.
I was aware of some exotic ranches in Texas where they do have zebras, right?
Okay, yes, actually, a good friend of mine owns one, but it's an undisclosed location, so I'm
Mm.
not allowed to give any info. I've signed an NDA. If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
I didn't even know that when I asked, so
I know.
I'll sign anything. Just don't kill me. Okay, so everybody knows this is our Bon Voyage podcast. So that means we're featuring a trip from our Bon Voyage, which is a list of trips that we're highlighting at any given moment. And what we love to do on this podcast is invite our partners that are behind those trips. And today we're going to be talking about Southern Africa, South Africa, and Southern Africa. I'll go into that in a minute. And this is all backed by Abercrombie and Kent, A&K, and their DMC division. And I'm going to ask Ashley to tell us a little bit about that in a few minutes. But first of all, Ashley, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got in this business and something like that?
Yes, I love it. I'm happy to answer that question. I've been a lover of travel from a very young age. I had a grandmother who was a world traveler. She would be on world cruises for much of my childhood and come back with the faux Fabergé eggs from Russia, and she would come back with the little crystal figurines that I've since learned are airport fodder. However, back in my youth, I thought that these were honestly priceless jewels. I really and truly believed everything she brought back was priceless, from the hand-painted Russian dolls to the Russian nesting eggs and the Chinese silk pajamas. I just ate it all up and I loved it. And I would go to her house on the weekends and dress up in her clothes and put on her Italian leather, handmade custom party shoes that she would have made in Venice and Milan. And I just told myself that one day I would be traveling just like my grandmother. So I think that inspiration came directly from her from a very, very young age. And
Great.
about maybe 12 years ago, I was invited to join a very large organization called the Travel Corporation. Kind of a boring name, to be honest, but much like you would expect from a company called the Travel Corporation, they owned a slew. At the time, it was 33 different tour and
Wow.
travel brands. So I began working for them in a multifunctional capacity where I was in a sales role for their African safari organization, for their small boutique and luxury hotelier, for their luxury tours and their luxury small ship river cruises throughout Europe. Eventually, I expanded within the organization just to the boutique river cruises in Europe. And from there, ended up getting hired to work for a luxury yacht organization. And now I am with the illustrious Abercrombie and Kent, and it's been a wild ride. I love being in the travel industry. I love traveling. I get to bring my travel partners, much like the two of y'all, with me on a trip every single year to somewhere super exotic and exciting. And I don't have a single aspect of my job that annoys me. I know a lot of people say, well, don't you hate doing that one report? Or isn't it annoying when you have to do XYZ? I just don't have that. I mean, there are things that I would consider maybe tedious, but none of it is exhausting or upsetting or really annoying. Just maybe a tad bit tedious, but I just love every aspect of this job and our crazy, wild whirlwind of an industry.
Awesome. And you, Kelly?
I don't work for Abercrombie and Kent.
I'm aware. I'm aware. I didn't know if you wanted to pipe in with your background, but you don't have to.
Oh, I didn't. I didn't know what that segue was for. I thought you were going to ask me what I love about South Africa.
What I meant to say is, Kelly, what do you love about South Africa?
Well, the one thing that really struck me when we were in South Africa the first time is Michael and I went out to a restaurant and we both ordered a glass of wine, and it
Mm.
was the same kind of wine. And the server said, "Why don't you just get a bottle?" And we said, "Well," and he said, "Well, a bottle of wine is only three glasses." And I said, "I like this country."
Yeah, my kind of country.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
In fact,
And
when I worked for the Travel Corporation, they actually owned a winery in South Africa called Bouchard Finlayson. And when I worked for the River Cruise Line beneath their portfolio, their top shelf wine on board the River Cruise Line was the Bouchard Finlayson South African wine. So I fell in love with all South African wines during my tenure there.
There's very good wines in South Africa for sure.
The Pinotage,
mm,
And yes,
Chef's
and
Kiss,
Chenin Blanc.
the Chenin Blanc and the Pinotage. Yes.
Agreed.
on the other hand, if you're watching on YouTube or however you watch your podcasts, please drop your question in the comments below. Or, you can I'll use my finger right there in a nice way and point to where my email address is, which is Michael at mgatravel.com or Kelly at mgatravel.com, or call the office. We'll be glad to answer any questions you have about this trip, A&K. And if we don't know, we will reach out to our buddy Ashley and find out for sure. So just thinking about A&K, just in case our listeners are not familiar, it's Abercrombie and Kent, A&K. They're a high-end travel company. Kelly and I traveled with them. I think it was 2012, the last time when we went to Antarctica. It was with A&K and Jeffrey Kent, who is the Kent in the A&K. He was on board celebrating, I can't remember, it was like 50 years or something like that for A&K. But he literally started the company, and he has some great stories that if we have time, maybe I can tell one of them later on. But what I can tell you is Abercrombie and Kent is a great company. They're well established, well known. Yeah, there's Jeffrey Kent right there on Ashley's screen, and that
Yeah.
is actually him from our trip, unless he's been back. But yeah, no,
Nope.
we had the little red jackets, exactly like that. So
Yeah. Yeah, the
yeah,
company was started 63 years ago now, if y'all can believe it. 63
Wow.
years.
wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
And for
So
folks that maybe haven't, heard of Abercrombie and Kent previously, the number one question I get asked, and I get asked this on a weekly basis, is was the travel portion of the company started before or after Abercrombie and Fitch, the clothing company? And I will tell y'all two separate things. Not us. We are not the Abercrombie and Fitch clothing company. Not us. But I get asked that question all the time. Abercrombie and Fitch again was a whole separate clothing brand, not affiliated. But the name Abercrombie, it is a very UK name, and that organization, the clothing company, is based out of the UK. Whereas Abercrombie and Kent, I mentioned 63 years ago, and we were the ones you see here in the top left of the screen, that safari vehicle.
mhm.
Back in those days, there wasn't a sunroof or a moonroof that didn't exist. So we were the organization that actually did the design, and coupled with that, the manufacturing and subsequently the distribution for the very first luxury safari vehicles. So back then, you can see in the photo that these were hydraulic based telescopic roofing panels. So when the button was pressed, it literally sounded like a vroom, vroom, vroom. It was like the space age. It was very, very new. And we were essentially put on the map once those vehicles came out in South Africa specifically, and we were put on the map as being the only luxury travel operator for African safari. And really, I think for mine and Kelly's purposes, it was not just due to the telescopic viewpoint roofing element, but also because a cooler was then placed in the back of the vehicle containing little bottles of champagne, right? We've got to have our sundowners. We've got to have
Yes.
those, little wet towels that they provide at the end of a dusty safari ride. They've got to be chilled, right? So our ethos, and this was established by Jeffrey Kent himself, was always adventure by day, but comfort and luxury by night. So it was those vehicles that we had designed and manufactured, coupled with that cooler to have your sparkling water and your still water chilled, and those again those cold towels and the sparkling wine and champagne that truly made it a luxury safari experience that at the time was unmatched. There was no other operator providing luxury safari experiences. So it was us, and we started the entire trend. So I'll do a hair flip. We started the trend. Look at that. We did it. It was us.
And you
You
have to
did.
have those moist, cool towels to get that safari makeup off at the end of the day.
Yes, it's a full face of that
It sure is.
that dust, 100%, 100%. So if I could go on, would you guys mind if I keep, cutting it up over here and talking your ear off? Can I?
You
Please.
can, but let me just mention one thing
Please.
while I'm looking at these pictures. It just
Yeah.
reminds me, while A and K is, and I guess A and K could be Ashley and Kelly, right? So, but we're talking about
Hey,
Abercrombie and Kent. Um, yeah, you're a worldwide company now, but when Jeffrey Kent started this company 63 years ago, he is South African, right?
Mhm.
And he
He's
started
Kenya,
off,
East
I'm sorry,
African, Kenya. Yeah.
he's from Kenya. Sorry, he's
Yeah.
from Africa, and he started with Safari. So this is their like, this is your like
Bread and
core
butter.
bread and butter is safaris, and that's what you've been doing the whole time.
Mhm.
Yes, please continue. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, and since then we have expanded on multiple different continents. So with that expansion, we now have 65 global offices. You can see that here from the map. And these offices are what we call in the travel industry our ground operations teams. Another acronym that we use in the travel industry are DMCs. And
Mhm.
DMC stands for Destination Management Company. And when you're looking at a safari operator and you're shopping for a safari online, or you're looking at some different brochures, or maybe you're asking ChatGPT, Kelly and Mike would say, "Oh, for shame! You call us, and we tell you where to go." And this is Abercrombie and Kent, because these other safari operators, they're going to have perhaps a network or a contact list of DMCs. They're going to have maybe a little Rolodex of a few folks that they know in the area, or maybe a short list of third party organizations that they use. And contrary to that thought, Abercrombie and Kent, we own, we manage, we operate these ground operations teams, these DMCs ourselves. So these are not, again, third parties. They're not hired by a, headhunting firm or a recruitment agency. We don't just use them for the season and then next year we create new contracts with new folks. Nope. If Michael and Kelly and I are on the phone with Africa, we're talking to one guy, and that's Akash Bajnath. He's the guy. He's my counterpart. He's my close friend. He's a dad of two beautiful children, an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old. And when they go on vacation, they go to Cape Town. I just talked to Akash this morning, and I heard from him about his vacation with his kiddos last week in Cape Town. So he lives and breathes the region. He's been with Abercrombie and Kent for over 10 years, and he is the one that is the mouthpiece and myself and Mike and Kelly's main point of contact for the region. So when we are looking to curate a trip for Bon Voyage, it is Akash and his team that we reach out to curate these experiences. And same thing if you're someone that is maybe traveling to Africa in 2028, or you're looking at 2027 to go along with us, but you're thinking, well, I was thinking about going to Europe later on this year, you can see from this map, and I know the type at the bottom of the screen. Oh man, it's way too small. I don't expect anyone here to be able to read that. But these offices that we have are in the UK, they're in Spain, they're in Italy. They are located, on the ground in Chile and Argentina and Colombia and Costa Rica. We even have a DMC here in the USA. So if you've got a granddaughter who's graduating from high school this May and she wants to major in musical theater and you thought you'd want to take her to Broadway to see a couple of shows and have, a private car drive y'all around and maybe schedule a dinner with a Broadway actress so that she can, your granddaughter can ask some questions. We've got a DMC here in the US that curates experiences just for New York City. Same with Sonoma, California, if you want to head over to wine country, or go to Alaska with the grandkids this summer. So lots of different experiences, but it really is Africa that we're here to talk about today. And it truly is, again, our bread and butter.
Well, I think it's worth saying that that's a huge differentiator because 95% of all tour companies use third-party DMCs and
Mhm.
A&K owns theirs. And when it comes to this particular trip, isn't a standard departure. This is a private group custom departure. And so you reached out to DMCs and Toneby and the other people we've been in contact while we've all been building this trip over the past, I don't know, seems like a year now.
I know.
I
I
Yeah.
think it
think it
has
is.
been.
But I think we've got it just right. And we'll go into more details in a minute. But I'll tell you, Kelly and I have been all over Africa, and South Africa is a country, number one. And then we're also going to be in Southern Africa as a region and more
Mm.
than just South Africa. Um, but it's a beautiful, beautiful part of the world. And also, I know on the call right now, there's at least one or two people that have been with us to East Africa safaris in Tanzania, and this is totally different. It is totally different. Even the Jeep styles are different. They're open air with sort of like stadium style seating, I guess you could say,
Mhm.
which is kind of interesting. And I don't know. I'm excited to tell you about the trip, but we're not quite there just yet.
Not quite there just yet, but yes, you're exactly right. It is extremely rare in the travel industry to have your tour operator who also owns the portion of the trip that is being operated on the ground. Usually, you've got your travel advisors here in the States, you've got your supplier that's a big name also located here in the States, and then you've got a third party supplier. So it's like a game of telephone, right? You've got this third party that's then calling into the supplier and giving the supplier information, and then the supplier's calling Mike and Kelly and giving Mike and Kelly that information, and then Mike and Kelly are then chatting with me, and it's a big game of telephone. With Abercrombie and Kent, it's a huge team effort. You guys would, if you looked at all these emails, there's like 18 people on copy on all these emails because we truly all work as a team and we all remain on copy so that we can all chime in and make comments and ask questions. And again, I'll be with Akash for the next not this upcoming week, but starting on I want to say the 20th of April, all the way through May 1st. I'll be traveling with Akash. We'll be together every single day. So when I say I know our Africa supplier really well and I'm super connected with him, I mean the I rent a specific rental car just for him because he is 6'6". He's a very tall. So I get a Jeep Grand Wagoneer and he has a special place that he sits because he puts the seat down in front so he can cross his leg. And again, we're good friends. So it's something you don't see at other organizations just simply because there's that separation of the church and the state, right? You've got folks that live and work in Africa, and then you've got the supplier that lives and works here in the US. And you might be CC'd on an email or two, but you don't have that relationship because you're not colleagues, you're not coworkers, you're not friends, you're not cohorts. And at A&K, we're the only tour operator that owns both segments of the trip. And something else I will say, and I don't want to, expand too much because sometimes we get into the weeds and we don't want to get too esoteric. But Abercrombie and Kent even has their own collection of safari camps and lodges. So, on certain itineraries, most of these are our scheduled departures that you would find on abercrombiekent.com. We're even utilizing our own properties. So, again, to have your supplier that they own the property and they're operating the trip on the ground with their drivers and their guides and their own employees, it's just unheard of. So, it's a very rare situation that I find myself in, and I pinch myself every day because working for this company, I like to say I feel like I won the lottery. I really do.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
So another thing I should mention is this is an Outlander Society trip, and
Mhm.
actually the folks that are on live now, you have to be an Outlander. That's a special preview for you guys. And let me share my screen just to real briefly talk about exactly what. Go to outlandersociety.com. And by the way, this is in transition. This will be a totally separate website later this year. Right now, it's part of MGA Travel. This is when we were in Greenland earlier, or a year ago in 2025. And this will go through everything. You can skip ahead to the trips, but I want to make sure that anybody thinking about this trip, you have to be able to follow two rules. And that is number one, no grumpy travelers. And number two, no discussion of divisive politics while we're on holiday.
Woohoo!
Usually, there are people that say right away, they're like, oh, I can't follow those rules. But there are people, especially number two, but there are people that are like, I can appreciate those rules because, this is not an inexpensive experience. This is a trip of a lifetime for a lot of people. And I don't want to spend half my time, talking about CNN and Fox News and what the differences are of opinion. I want to just enjoy South Africa and the animals and the Rovos Rail and everything like that.
Yes.
Exactly. So when you do scroll down, you'll see we have upcoming Outlander quests. A lot are sold out already. Um, but right here we have N Rail, Southern Africa Safari and Rail, starting October 16th, 2027 for 12 nights, hosted by yours truly and Kelly. And we're going to go over those in one moment. That's our lovely flyer that Gus just finished up for us. Um, And to bring the Bon Voyage in here, I want to open another tab because I gotta bring all this stuff together. Trips with Me will tell you is a shortcut to take you to the Bon Voyage Hot List, and this is a list of all of our many of our hosted trips that have generally a special offer going on. And as you go through the list, you will see Southern Africa and Safari and Rail, and you can step inside that journey. And again, it takes you to that same page where you information, itinerary, pricing, and just remember you need an Outlander to stand for you if you're not already an Outlander. And that person is just kind of vouching for you to say, yeah, they can follow the two rules. And that person could be me, it could be Kelly. So feel free to email and call. We can set up a time to talk. And for sure you could be invited to go with us. We would love that. And let's see, last thing to know, it's supposed to be on here, but I didn't. Well, we have maximum of 22 guests on going on here. So with Kelly and I, that would be 24 total. Um, all right, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment.
Can we talk about the itinerary?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm going to let Ashley go over that itinerary. If you have that handy, I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
We're just like the opposite. He's all the rules and I'm the itinerary. Usually it's the other way around.
Well, I'm happy to step in and give you a break, Kelly. Happy to do it. So
Thank
I'm
you.
going to share my screen right now because this is a custom itinerary, again, straight from the DMC. And again, not to get too esoteric, DMC stands for Destination Management Company. And again, that is our team that is on the ground, that are my colleagues. We've got Cape Town, Joburg, Vic Falls, which is in Victoria Falls, I should say, which is in Zimbabwe, one of the seven wonders of the world, and the Chobe River. So, again, the dates once again are October 16th to the 28th of 2027. And these are the trip dates. So, departure from the US, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but that would be the 15th. And then when you get back, I believe it would be the 30th, correct?
It should be correct. Yes, there are times where it just makes sense to even leave on the 14th.
Hmm.
So obviously there is no air for October 27 yet, but
Yeah.
once we get into November and December, we'll be glad to help you with your international air.
Yeah, for those of you watching later, today is April 10th of 2026, so we need to wait until closer to a year prior to get those air schedules. But again, we like to start in Cape Town, not just for flights, because it is most convenient, but also it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous area of the world. And again, Southern Africa, as Mike has said, is the country. We also have the region of South Africa. So just know that we use those terms in the travel industry, and some folks use them outside the travel industry interchangeably, but they are not synonymous terms, just to make that very, very, very clear. And Cape Town itself, it's a big melting pot of cultures. Think like New York City or San Francisco, Miami, Florida, where you just have a bunch of folks from all over the world. Um, we take you through the neighborhood. We do some walking tours where you get to see all the colorful houses and the rich Malay heritage there. Also, we do get to experience the city of Joburg. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and Mike and Kelly, please chime in here. But when we're in Joburg, it is very third world. So we don't want you to think that you'll be, unsafe by any means. That is not the case. But just know that going through the city of Joburg, it doesn't look like the Ritz Paris. Okay, you're going to see some dirt roads. You're going to see some poverty. You may see some children that are very clearly being affected by poverty and hunger. So I don't want to add any extra rules to the Outlander travel rules and regulations, but I might just say, if it were me, I would say, the number three caveat there is make sure before you join a trip like this that your heart and your soul is prepared for some of these views that you might see on that driving tour through Joburg. And do you have anything to add, Michael and Kelly, about Johannesburg and Cape Town?
I mean, I wouldn't be scared of Johannesburg or
No,
Joburg for short.
no.
It's true. I mean, Cape Town, you're definitely in like a first world city,
Yes,
beautiful in
Metropolitan
wineries,
city, yes.
yeah.
metropolitan, and then Joburg is just much more spread out, has a huge population. Pretoria is there, and we will be in safe places. But like Ashley mentioned, I mean, it's just part of reality. You will witness extreme poverty in parts of it. That's what we want you to know.
Yes, and for the accommodation summary, when we first check in Cape Town, we'll be there for 3 nights. That is Mel Nelson, and it is a Belmont hotel, so that is 5 star. And you'll notice here on the right, the basis, you're going to have some delineations here. B&B stands for bed and breakfast, and then FI is fully inclusive, which means it's all meals, all fees, all activities, gratuities, as well as your accommodation. So after our 3 nights at the Mount Nelson, the Belmont property, we will then be embarking on the Rovos Rail. And I do want to click down. Hope I didn't give anyone some vertigo with that. Apologies. But if you've not heard of Rovos Rail, this is an extremely high-end, full 5 star, all-inclusive luxury train experience. Think like the Venice Simplon, Orient Express. It is just a beautiful, beautiful uh, uh, I want to say vessel. I mean, I don't even know how else to describe it, but it's extremely curated to that old world mentality. Agatha Christie, Death on the Nile, think about jumping back in time. Oh, that's my husband. Oh, there I am. Look at us back in the background. I didn't realize they put my vacation photos here on this. Oh, I'm so embarrassed, you guys. I'm so embarrassed. Oh my gosh. But no, I'm kidding. But yeah, just to give you an idea of what this accommodation will look and feel like, I'm just kind of running through the photos here. Everyone has a deluxe suite, so there's no option to upgrade here. Everyone is going to have the same level of accommodation. Don't want you to think that you can get a bigger room or a smaller room. Again, everyone in the Outlander group is there together, and same exact accommodation. This is the view of the suite here, so you can see it is spacious. It's going to feel, if you've ever done a river cruise, it's going to feel very similar in size. There is a turn down service every single night. There is space. to unpack. This is 3 nights, so you will want to unpack a few things. There is an option to split up the beds if you're traveling with your best friend or your sister or a traveling companion, or we can have that bed pushed together. But here is this is the royal suite bathroom, so do not think that this is y'all, but this is the deluxe suite with the beds pushed together. So I just kind of wanted to go through some of these photos to give y'all a an overview because it really, really, really and truly is a true luxury experience there.
And
Back,
unlike some
yeah,
trains, just to point out, it does have each suite has an ensuite full bath with
yes.
bath all facilities and shower
Yes,
for you.
not a bathtub like I showed you. So that was my error. That was the deluxe suite bathtub. But yes, every one of the deluxe suites does have an ensuite bathroom. Um, it's funny that you just mentioned that, Michael, your comment a moment ago about not all trains have this. I was on the Amtrak yesterday with my sister for 4 hours from Boston to New York. And although we were in business class, that bathroom did not look like that. I will say that. Okay. So just throwing that.
Especially probably not at the end of those 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly. And then we move on to Joburg. That is our shorthand that we use in the travel industry for Johannesburg. We're going to be at Fairlawns, which is a boutique property. We're there just for 1 night. And again, that's just going to include your breakfast only. Then we move on to the Palm River Hotel. This is in Zimbabwe. So we've now gone from South Africa over to Zimbabwe to see one of the seven wonders of the world, Victoria Falls. Again, only breakfast included, as well as the excursion, of course, to Vic Falls. And then we conclude at the Chobe Game Lodge. And if you're not familiar with the Chobe River, again, not to make anyone dizzy here, but the Chobe River is known for its collection of elephants. So if you are someone who is coming to your safari hoping to see some animals and wildlife, maybe if you're a cruiser, if you've done an ocean cruise, if you've done a river cruise, this is one of my favorite itineraries for the cruise queens of the world, where maybe we've not done a safari just yet. And we're just kind of dipping our toe into the safari realm. I love it because you've got all of the wondrous beauty of Victoria Falls and all the thundering water that you can see there. And then you've got the beauty of the Chobe River and the excursions that we'll be performing on the Chobe are going to be water based. So again, this is a great itinerary for the cruise queens out there who are just kind of starting to get comfortable with the idea of traveling to the continent of Africa. Or perhaps like Mike and Kelly, y'all have been to Africa previously. Perhaps you've been out to the bush, you've done Kenya, you've done Tanzania, and you're looking to expand your knowledge of the continent of Africa, and you're looking to do a different type and style of safari. I call this the river and rail itinerary. This is my favorite way to see South Africa myself.
Ashley, that is a beautiful, beautiful property.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's one of our favorites, our go-to, and it's right on the riverfront of the Chobe. So you do have beautiful river views at night while you're dining. It's on the deck right there. I mean, can you just imagine? It's just
Gorgeous.
gorgeous, y'all. It's just gorgeous. And again, everyone has a standard room. Room types are the same. The pricing has been curated such that everyone is in the same accommodation style. So this isn't, again, if you're not an Outlander, again, one of the unspoken rules is, hey, no one's getting a better room than someone else because they bribed Kelly. They bought her 2 bottles of wine. That's not how it works. Okay, everybody's in the same accommodation style. And now, if we're going to speed down just a little bit to the itinerary, we can go to the day by day. Again, I don't want to make anyone dizzy, but I love the way our Africa DMC curates these itineraries online because it makes the itinerary so, so, so interactive. But day one is our travel day. You're going to be transferred to the Belmont property from Cape Town International Airport. Lunch and dinner are on your own arrangement because most folks will be, if you haven't traveled in the day prior, which was Michael's recommendation again from earlier in today's talk, you're going to want to hit the hay. It is a very, very, very long day. Day two, We get the full day Cape Town city tour, evening at leisure. Dinner is on your own. We will have lots of recommendations for places to go for dinner. We've got the folks at the hotel providing recommendations. Some folks might end up going off on their own in small little groups. Day three, we will have another tour of Cape Town, and then again, evening at leisure. And then it is again on the 19th.
Ashley, let me interrupt you one
Please.
second. For a couple of these, Tomby has not updated the WeTube, but
Okay.
a couple of these dinners are included. So, like on day two, it's our welcome dinner,
Okay.
and that one is included with drinks and everything. So we can use this as a basis, but just know that there might be more inclusions than what is shown here.
This is exciting. I'm excited for this. I knew that Tomby had a few tricks up the sleeve, but I'm excited to see that we're expanding upon that because I'm already thrilled with the itinerary as I've seen it on my side. Um, I will tell you guys a peek behind the curtain. If y'all have kids, you might know the acronym BTS. Behind the scenes, as a representative for a travel company, my travel contract is 75%. So I have been traveling every week without stopping since the week of March 12th. So apologies, I don't have the itinerary committed to memory. And thank you, Mike. Please continue to chime in. But then, as I mentioned, we hop on to the Rovos Rail. We're there the 19th, the 20th, and the 22nd. Fast facts, total number of cabins on the train are 36. And we've got over, it looks like two languages spoken on board. So that's really exciting. Very, very exciting. We do depart via the Cape Town station. Um, and from there, we have the day at leisure. Day five, we're going to be disembarking and having an opportunity to stroll through the village. Mike, why don't you take a stab at the pronunciation? I'd love
I
to
was
hear
gonna
you
say
try.
you should do it, Ashley, but I'm just gonna say Matahas Fontaine.
There you go. I love it.
Maybe we'll see.
I love it. I
Haven't been
love it.
there.
And then on the 21st, we have a tour of the Kimberly's Diamond Museum at the Big Hole. This is one of the quintessential Cape Town experiences. Ladies, make sure you have a shopping budget. Just throwing that out there. The gift shop is second to none. And then Joburg, we mentioned also that this is going to be a beautiful tour through the city on this particular day. And then we've got the Fair Lawns for the 22nd and 23rd. Everyone is going to be in the Grand Chateau Suite at Fair Lawns. This is breakfast included daily, but just look at the grounds. Oh my goodness. There is a spa on property. So again, once we have the full itinerary updated by Tombe here on the Wetu, and Wetu is the title of the product that we're using up here. That is the name of this web-based itinerary builder that our African DMC utilizes. So once we have the full itinerary, ladies, and you know when you have breaks, I highly encourage you to have Mike and Kelly book you a spa appointment because the spa at this property is just fabulous. You will not be disappointed. They also have tea and coffee included. There is a high tea that the property performs daily, and it is very, very, very highly recommended. High recommend. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful photos. I
Yeah,
love this
absolutely
property.
gorgeous.
I know, it's just gorgeous. I love it. I absolutely love it. Here we go. Let me get all the way down to, here we go, Fair Lawns, Vic Falls. Yes. Okay. I wanted to scooch forward to Victoria Falls. Um, it is highly regarded as the largest continuous sheet of falling water on this earth. So yes, it is one of the seven wonders. Yes, there are other waterfalls, Niagara, etc., but this is the longest continuous sheet of falling water on earth. And contrary to popular belief, the falls are not thunderous throughout the year. Um, it's funny during the wet season in Africa, the falls have already experienced most of their emptying. So the falls tend to be less of a thunderous cacophony of sound and more of a trickle. Again, a trickle for Vic Falls is still quite the waterfall. It's still very, very loud and very gorgeous. But it's funny, during the wet season, you have less of the falls really roaring. And during the dry season, that's when you see the falls really come to life. And again, it just takes time again for the water to matriculate down into the region. So it's in opposition of the seasonality that you see the falls thundering or not. Um, so there's a wide range of activities at the park in general, but just a gorgeous, gorgeous excursion that you guys will have on that day. And we're staying at the Palm River Hotel, deluxe rooms for everyone. This is in Zimbabwe. Just a beautiful, beautiful property here. I just love it. Lots of viewing of the elephants, even though we're not yet on the Chobe River. It's just a gorgeous property. Total rooms at this property is 73, so it is considered a boutique property. Then there is a spa again, ladies. So if you are a spa fiend like myself, definitely review the itinerary and have Mike and Kelly make you an appointment so that you are sure not to miss it. On day 8, we check out from the Fair Lawns and then we get transferred to Tambo International Airport because at this juncture we are flying to Botswana. And then here we go, day at leisure, and then checking into the Chobe Riverfront property.
Look at the
Look
babies.
at the babies. And we're at Chobe Game Lodge for those last few nights. What I love about the way that this itinerary has been curated for y'all Outlanders is that we've got 3 nights, 3 nights. I mean, that's the absolute best way to do it. One of my pet peeves, coming from selling luxury cruise as long as I did and coming back to selling land and safari, is that sometimes you have these itineraries where the goal almost seems to see as many hotels as possible. And for me, when it's my first time visiting a region, if it was my first time coming to Southern Africa, I don't want to feel rushed. I don't want to be packing, unpacking, packing, unpacking. You want to be able to enjoy these properties and enjoy your time together as a group. So for me, I'm a 3 night minimum if it's my first time to that particular region. And I love the way that we have curated this itinerary as such.
And
Um,
to piggyback on that, we actually only have one night at the when we're in Joburg is the only one nighter because
yep.
that's just a logistic stop to get on the train.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. So again, we have game drives on day 11 at Chobe Game Lodge, and then day 12 is the River Safari that I mentioned earlier on in the talk today. And it is a covered vehicle, I should say. So you'll see here these vessels are, it kind of looks like a pontoon is what we would call it here in the States, but there's space for everyone. The guides are so familiar with the area. They're familiar with the river. They know what time of day the elephants are going to be bathing. They know what time of day the elephants are going to be heading back to the watering hole, for them to get back their hydration for the day. So you're going to have amazing views. You will see animals. It's just a non-starter. So again, one of my favorite ways to view Africa is from the river. One of my favorite ways to see the elephants is when they're in the water, splashing each other, washing off their babies. It's the cutest thing. Y'all are just going to love it. And day 13th, again on the 28th, is when you are going to be leaving and departing. Now, Mike, I wanted to ask you if one of your Outlanders had asked for perhaps an extension and they wanted to stay after. the group was through. Where would you recommend that they go? What are some ideas that you and Kelly might have if they wanted to perhaps, spread out from the group after the tour is over, but still stay in the region?
Well, first, thank you very much. That was a great
Yes.
presentation of the
Oh gosh.
itinerary.
Thank you.
We plan on, for the folks that haven't been to East Africa, actually offering an extension to go up to Tanzania, which will be early November. So you don't, because it's a pretty long flight to get to Africa. So while you're over here, there, if you are interested in extending, we will do individuals, or we can, if enough people want to, we'll make a group that continues on, and we'll just fly up to Tanzania from South Africa. And the flights that you mentioned in the tour, the intra tour flights, those are all included. So, and that includes leaving that lodge and flying back to Johannesburg, which is a big airport and a good place if you want to fly back home. If you totally want to do your own thing, we can work with the DMC with Ashley and Tomby, and definitely add on a couple days somewhere. Maybe you want to go down to Cape of Good Hope, south of Cape Town, or stay in wine country, or go out to Kruger National Park at Thorny Bush, where we've been before. Is another great safari. You're there in Africa. I definitely recommend, extending if you have the time.
If it were me, I'd be at the Winelands, 100%. That's where I would go. It's not super inconvenient. Again, it's still in Southern Africa, and the wine. I mean, Africa. We started our talk today chatting about wine, even before we started the recording. I'll be honest, you guys. And now here we are talking about wine again. But you would be remiss if you did not visit. If you are a wino like myself, like Kelly, if you you'd be remiss if you didn't visit some of the beautiful wineries, and again getting an understanding of the difference between, again, the Pinotage and the Chenin Blanc. You don't see those varietals in many other countries, and learning about the terroir of the region, and understanding the coastal breezes, and the makeup of the soil. It's just so different, and the taste and the texture and the legs of all these gorgeous varietals. It's you can only find them there. So yeah, if you're someone that goes to France for Bordeaux, I would recommend extending your Southern Africa trip to the winelands.
Without a doubt. And Africa is huge, and not everybody who hasn't been there just doesn't realize just the sheer scale. I mean, I think it's 44 separate countries. South Africa is a very large one of those countries. There's no way to do every single thing on a 14-day
It
trip.
would be like going to the United States and being like, I'm going to be there for 14 days.
Yeah, I'll
Yes,
see the whole thing. No,
yes,
you won't.
yeah, no, you won't. Yeah,
But I think
exactly.
this has been carefully curated to really give you sort of a peek at all of the best that there is in
Mhm.
this region. And if you want to expand on that, be my guest. There's no better time than while you're there,
Yeah.
um, for
And
sure.
then I did want to mention that the deposit is a 25%, and then remaining balance is due 60 days prior to departure. But I didn't know, Michael, if you wanted to go through the pricing further and talk a little bit more expansively about that.
Yeah, let me do that. I'm going to share my screen. So
Mhm.
we are going to go back to, um,
While you're doing that, I'm just going to pipe in real quick. If you don't know this, elephants are extraordinarily intelligent animals, and there's a really great book called An Elephant in My Kitchen. I'm not going to say it's the best writing in the entire world, but the stories that she tells about these elephants will just move you in a way that I can't even explain. You ready?
yes. Okay. So do you see the Outlander Society and then me, and that's it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Not looking at any of my spreadsheets or emails or anything.
No, but can we, would you mind if we delete you and just see this? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Wow.
I'm kidding. We have
Wow.
to joke, people. We have to
That's
joke.
true. That is true. Okay, so as I scroll down, I could go back through everything, but you can also click on the upcoming trips and it'll scroll right down, and we will go to Southern Africa. I need to move this. There we go. Okay, so that's how you find this trip. Either go to Trips with Me, you can go to mgatravel.com, you can go to Outlander Society, however you normally access our trips, or if you're new to us, um, you can find us in any of those ways. And then once you get to this trip, it's going to go over all of the details. It's got this first little itinerary kind of will overrides the one that you saw that Ashley mentioned when we have an inclusion that's not on that one, because I don't have any control over that itinerary, but I do on this one. So you can look here and see, oh, there's lunch at Food Barn Restaurant on this day, breakfast at the lunch at the Upper Union Restaurant here, dinner at the hotel. So these are some inclusions that aren't mentioned in um, the itinerary. But the one that she just did, you can click right here where it says explore. And I'll do that in 1 second and you'll see you can go to that. When we're on Rovos Rail and at the Chobe Lodge, fully inclusive, including Rob DP, our drink package. So alcoholic drinks are included at those. Also at our welcome dinner. But as we've talked about on previous Outlander trips, people have asked for a little bit more exploration time. And so it's a good way. We'll have some recommendations. The DMC will have some restaurant recommendations. The concierge is at the hotel, places you can get to by walking, and we can do it as a group or whatever that will be on your own. But just to give you a little bit of your own exploration along the way. So in the middle, you go to this full itinerary lodging, you click explore and give it 1 moment, and you'll see it will bring up the exact um, itinerary with maps and everything and accommodations that Ashley was just referencing. So, cost, the travel investment cost is $23,998 per person. All right. If you want to go as a single traveler, a single independent traveler, there's a supplement of $5,725. That's not bad in terms of supplements for solo travelers, but we only have 2 rooms available like that. Now, if you travel with Outlanders or you have a friend, or we can help put you people in touch, go have coffee or tea or together and see if you'd be a good roommate, then neither one of you would have to pay the single supplement. We'll get you 2 bids or separated bids like you saw on the train, and you'll pay the same price as everyone else. So the deposit works out to $4,400 per person for double occupancy. That is paid by credit card, and we'll show you how to do that. When the time comes to pay the final payment, which is June 1st, 2027, if you want to pay by check or wire transfer instead of credit card, you can save the 3% that they charge us. So that will be discounted from your balance, the 3% just by paying by check or wire transfer. Now, there's a minimum of 10 paying guests in order to operate this adventure. That's in addition to me and Kelly. So until we have all 10, and we have 6 right now, I think, you can pay this hold my spot deposit right here. You just click this button and you can literally pay $500 per person to hold your spot. If it's 2 people, make sure you click it up to 2, and you will pay right then, and that will hold your spot. Once we get to 10 people, we will then say, okay, we'll come back and say, all right, this is a go, is viable, and I fully expect that it will be, by the way. And then you would have to pay the balance of the deposit due. So you paid 500 a person out of the 4,400 person already. So you would just owe 3,900 per person more once we hit 10. Now, if we get to 20 guests, you're actually going to get a rebate off the final price of $1,000 per person.
I don't hate
So
that.
no, right? So we get tiered pricing from A&K, and so we're going to pass that along to you. So at 10 people to 19 people, that pricing that you see right here, 23,998. But once we hit 20 people, it turns into 22,998.
Okay, so I'm going to interrupt because in Texas, what we would say to this is call your mama, call your sister, call your best friend, y'all. Let's get everybody coming. Who's coming, y'all?
That's exactly right. And we're here in South Carolina, it's not so different.
Now in
Okay,
South
okay.
Carolina, we'd say, call your mama and them.
Call your
Mama
mom
and
and
them.
them.
That's
Mom and them.
right. And then this is not on the website. This is just for our viewers, or especially our Alive attendees, but also people watching the podcast within the time period that I will tell you and put on the screen. But we are offering viewers of the podcast an additional $1,320 per person discount off of the price. So I mentioned it includes your intra-tour airfare, so that's in the price. The only thing it doesn't include is your international airfare to get you from the United States and back home. And highly recommended insurance, but we will quote that for you too. So put your questions up so we can answer them. We've got a couple more minutes, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but you know how to get there, and you can find all this information on your own.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Michael. You guys did a great job staying on time and on target.
That's what
We
we
got a good
do.
boss, and her name
That's
is
why they
Kelly.
pay us the big bucks.
She's the K and A and K in this case.
No, I'll tell you why we're on time is because we weren't drinking wine. That's why. That's
Probably.
why we're on time.
Is it because I promised a glass of wine if you finish before the end of the hour?
That's more behind the scenes. You weren't supposed to say
Oh,
that
oh,
during
oh,
the
yeah,
recording, though. Remember, we talked
yeah.
about that
That
before.
wasn't a thing. Sorry,
Not supposed
I
to
didn't
say
mean to
that.
bring that
Yeah,
up.
you're kind of yeah.
Well, I think that's a wrap, everybody. We've covered all the information you need to know. I hope that you'll join us. It's going to be a blast. We've been in this region before. It is a beautiful part of the world. You will see amazing animals and amazing cultures that you can't see anywhere else. So add it to your bucket list and come with us. Thanks for joining the Bon Voyage, everybody. Again,
Thank you for your time, Ashley.
Thanks,
yeah,
y'all. Thanks for having me. It was such a pleasure to chat with y'all.
yes, exactly. And everybody, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.